What's up, Taiwan? I'm Reece with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. A 7.7 magnitude earthquake has left at least 20 people dead in Myanmar. Roads, bridges and buildings have been damaged in Myanmar, with emergencies declared in 6 regions, including in the capital. Powerful tremors were felt in neighbouring countries like Thailand and China. In Bangkok, dramatic footage shows a building collapsing. At least 80 workers were reportedly inside the under-construction 30-storey tower when the quake hit, and at least 3 of them are dead. Thailand has declared a state of emergency. Taiwan has prepared a search and rescue team to provide assistance if requested. Here in Taiwan, debate is brewing. What's more important, national security or freedom of expression? It's a question being raised after a teacher was investigated for criticizing Taiwan's president on Chinese state television. Appearing on Chinese state broadcaster CCTV, Oh Guizhi, a teacher at one of Taiwan's top high schools whose mother lives in China, criticizes her country's president.
我的母亲跟我变成敌对，我觉得我怎么面对祖先？赖清德要不要去面对他的祖先？我真是想问，那良心何在？
In the interview, supposedly about education and culture, Oh questioned President Lai's characterization of China as a hostile foreign force, saying it vilified the Chinese relatives of Taiwanese people. But her comments prompted backlash online, and even an investigation by the Education Ministry, bringing into question her suitability as an educator.
经北一女校方查证回复，并没有学生反映老师在课堂上违反教育中立。
Despite the school's investigation turning up no wrongdoings, Oh continues to face criticism, including from Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council, which handles relations with China, with its minister criticizing her for singing Chinese state media's tune against Taiwan.
党媒都很期待你讲的这个话跟采访的内容是他们想要的立场、论调以及声音，向来如此哈。受到中共政权的各种极限施压、步步进逼，这不是事实吗？
Oh herself has come out to blast the campaign against her.
这个我觉得到底有什么抵触？我从来没有在，比方说竞选期间替某政党在拉票。
And has found support among opposition Kuomintang politicians, including Taipei Mayor Zhang Wan-an.
欧老师并没有违反教育中立，那我们的立场就是尊重老师教学的专业自主权，同时也坚定地捍卫言论。
The case is the latest that opposition lawmakers are citing as an attack by the ruling Democratic Progressive Party on free speech, after 3 influencers from China had their Taiwan residency permits revoked for online videos seen as promoting unification by force, stimulating debates about the compatibility of national security and total freedom of expression. Joseph Wu and Reece for TaiwanPlus. Japan has unveiled its first ever evacuation plan for Okinawa's remote islands in case of a Taiwan crisis. The plan aims to evacuate 120,000 residents from the islands closest to Taiwan within 6 days to safer locations in Kyushu and Yamaguchi. The plan would transport about 20,000 people a day using civilian ferries, Japan's Coast Guard and civilian flights. A more comprehensive plan in the case of a longer evacuation will be finalized in 2026. For more on why Japan is stepping up its plans for a Taiwan emergency, our reporter Jaime Okan spoke to a Japanese security analyst, Reina Sasaki, based in Washington, D.C.
I want to first start off with these evacuation plans. How concerned are people in Okinawa about the possibility of a war around Taiwan?
So actually, I visited Okinawa last summer and conducted a series of interviews with local officials, including the mayor of Ishigaki, Yonaguni, and Taketomi, and member of city council and the commander of local Japan Self-Defense Force garrison. So hearing directly from people on the ground really changed how I think about a Taiwan contingency. So I think it's not just a geopolitical issue. It's something that local residents are already living with a real present concern. And then, of course, it's a major concern, especially in Japan's southernmost islands like Ishigaki and Yonaguni, especially Yonaguni. It is just 110 kilometers from Taiwan. For them, Taiwan contingency isn't an abstract concept. It's something that could affect their lives directly.
Is it Okinawa specifically that's concerned? And if so, what is it about that area that is raising anxiety?
Yeah, very much so, especially in Okinawa remote islands. People are paying attention. For example, taxi drivers are talking about PAC-3 missile launches, which is located because of the North Korean missile ones. So I think what's unique is the blend of strategic awareness and limited vulnerability. These islands are exposed not just to military threat, but also, economic shocks and natural disasters. And also they saw some light or like the U.S. aircraft, roaming around the nearby their islands, and then they saw the like military equipment, and then they feel like this is kind of a near crisis or near some danger nearby. Also in local elementary school there are even Taiwanese language classes in Yonaguni, so you can really feel still everyday life that Taiwan is considered the closest and most cherished friend of their community.
That was security analyst Reena Sasaki. Taiwan and 8 other countries have agreed to cut this year's catch quota for Pacific Saury. Countries including China, Japan and Russia are reducing their catches by 10% amid a shortage in the North Pacific. The decision to conserve the popular fish, which is an autumn delicacy in Japan, was made at the annual gathering for the Commission managing fisheries in the area. Over the years, overfishing and global warming have put more pressure on the species. As oceanic fish stocks around the world continue to collapse, fishing fleets are setting out for more remote waters to feed a global appetite for seafood. But their practices could have dire consequences for the planet's climate. A new report from non-profit Outlaw Ocean Project uncovers the damage being done to a unique remote ecosystem. Jonathan Kaplan has the story.
You've probably never heard of the Saya de Mala Bank, but this shallow seagrass plateau in the Indian Ocean teems with life. It's a breeding ground for blue and humpback whales, sea turtles, and other threatened species. It is also the ocean's greatest carbon sink, and it is being destroyed. The bank lies off the northeast end of Madagascar in mostly international waters. It is about the size of Switzerland, administered by the small island nation of Mauritius, about 900 kilometers away. This means fishing fleets can operate there with near impunity. But one nonprofit organization is working to document the destruction of this marine ecosystem.
We know that there is an unusual concentration of industrial fishing vessels there, and a huge portion of those vessels are trawlers that are distinctly destructive to the specific thing, seagrass, that makes the Saya de Mala most precious.
That seagrass is precious not only for the habitat it provides for the many species that dwell on the underwater meadow.
It's a big, very important place, largely because of seagrass's carbon capture potential. What seagrass does is pulls carbon out of the water that ended up in the water because the water pulled it out of the air, and then it holds it and it stores it in its roots.
The Saya de Mala Bank is the world's largest known seagrass field. These uniquely adapted plants cover less than 0.2% of the seafloor, but store around 18% of the ocean's carbon.
This is really a silver bullet for climate change. Seagrass does it faster than anything on land, to the tune of 20 to 30 times faster than, say, trees in the Amazon.
In search of fish to feed a hungry human world, fleets of fishing vessels have descended on the area in recent years.
I think what makes it attractive is the biodiversity. It's rich. It's not, much of the world's nearshore stocks have collapsed. Too much fishing, too many fishing boats, and not enough fish close to land. So ships are going further to more exotic places to try to find the best catch. And this is a pretty remote place that hadn't been tapped before a decade ago. But for the last decade, every year, you've been seeing a huge buildup of vessels there.
The unregulated fishing practices around the Saya de Mala Bank are ravaging this rare ecosystem and speeding up climate change. Fleets from Sri Lanka and Thailand have been operating there for years, and so have those from Taiwan.
And the Saya de Mala is a place where there's a huge flow of tuna in that area. But because it's so far historically, other fleets haven't gone there, but the Taiwanese are now.
There are many parties to this destructive process that puts short-term profit above long-term global health. Alex Chen and Jonathan Kaplan for TaiwanPlus.
In the next part of our coverage of the Saya de Malha Bank, we'll take a closer look at the fishing practices that are wrecking that part of the underwater world and Taiwan's role in its destruction. Stay tuned for that. Taiwan's biggest fashion event has begun, with this season's latest looks taking on a big issue: sustainability. Our reporter Sandy Chi was at the opening night.
It's a big night for Taiwan's fashion enthusiasts. Taipei Fashion Week Autumn-Winter 2025 has officially kicked off, giving Taiwan's designers the opportunity to show what they've got. With 6 designers unveiling their latest creations, all united by a single mission: to go from zero back to zero.
最关键就是要表达台湾希望以时尚来分担这个世界公民的责任，就是说 endless 就是时尚无尽的意思，就是说我们希望时尚也是一个循环，时尚不会只有造成地球的负担，而是每一个在这个过程消费时尚的人也参与了分担地球的责任。
So-called fast fashion has taken over the global market in recent years, thanks to cheaper clothing production. But with this rise comes serious challenges affecting all countries. In Taiwan, more than 80,000 tons of old clothes are thrown away every year, and of that, about 34,000 tons end up in incinerators. If stacked up, that's nearly the height of Mount Everest.
其实我这淘汰率，我自己觉得我自己淘汰率是蛮高的。我也不知道下一次的淘汰是什么时候，可能就是2个礼拜、1个月，不一定。
And so the average wardrobe life of my clothes, I would say maybe like 3 to like 7 years. Yeah, I try to mix and match, right? And sometimes, and I think I'm very careful with what I add into my collection, so I don't throw them away easily.
And to change that, this season's designs are all made using recycled material.
这次包含引用到就是工业废布或甚至回收的服装去做成布料，所以它是从一个很有趣，就是已经是成品，然后又变成布料这样的过程。
But some designers say it's difficult to get the public on board with the idea of sustainable fashion.
现在就是回收的材料，其实它成本过高，所以在推行的时候，可能还需要有一段的时间。如果说未来要做到量产的话，那以目前来讲的话，就是小批量的话，可能问题不是很大。可是有些如果你要普及化的话，我觉得价格可能是一个问题点。
Other designers still have high hopes.
我觉得逐渐，大家也从很久以前的定制的这个习惯，慢慢又从快时尚又转到现在，大家也开始逐渐对一件衣服有一个更多的价值的认知，跟希望用收藏方式去拥有服装。
Endless fashion is continuing in the capital, with more runway shows and fashion forums being held until March 30th. Thanks Xu and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, take a look at Chilean wingsuit pilot Sebastian Alvarez, who managed to set 3 world records in a single flight. I'm Reece. Take care and see you next time.
For more news from Taiwan and around the world, download our app or check out the TaiwanPlus website. Ready? Go. Ready? Just jump.
Okay, jump!